I stood just inside the doorway, shoes still wet from the rain, and watched my son pack up my life. Darren was crouched by the coffee table, folding my sweaters into a cardboard box like they were old receipts. He didn't look up. "We need space," he said, sealing the box with one long drag of tape. I could hear Mallory upstairs thud shuffle, tear-packing more things that didn't belong to her. Her parents are moving in next weekend. I set my umbrella against the wall and took a step forward. And where exactly should I go? Darren straightened up, but still didn't face me. "Didn't you say Aunt Colleen's got a guest room?" I didn't answer. My eyes landed on the return label, still stuck to the side of the box. My name, my address. I picked it up. Heavy, but not full. Half my closet was still untouched, probably because Mallory didn't know which of my scarves were dry clean only. "I figured we'd handle it now," Darren added, like we were discussing groceries, not my eviction. I walked past him without a word into my bedroom. My closet door was half open. On the dresser, the photo of me and Darren from his graduation had been turned face down. I sat on the edge of the bed, fingers pressed to my temples. The room was still mine for now, but the air had already changed. The corners felt foreign, like I was the guest and someone else was expected any minute. I stood cross to the filing cabinet and unlocked the bottom drawer. The folder was still there. Red tab. Title written in my late husband's hand, House, all legal. I pulled it free and set it on the nightstand. Then I walked back into the hall. Darren was on the phone laughing at something Mallory said from upstairs. I passed behind him, silently picked up my coat, and left for the diner down the street. Not to cry, just to think. By the time I finish my tea at the diner, I've run the numbers twice in my head. Mortgage paid off in 2013. Property taxes on auto pay straight from my account. Utilities insurance, repairs all mine. The house has been in my name since 1992. My husband and I signed the deed together. After he passed, I refinanced and my name became the only one on the papers. No cosigner, no tenants, no obligations. Darren and Mallory moved in 6 months ago. Just for a while, Darren had said. He needed time to recover after the business folded. I offered the guest room, not the house. I gave them space, not the deed. But slowly, they started treating every inch like theirs. By the time I returned home that afternoon, my favorite armchair is missing from the living room. The one with the worn armrest where I used to read after dinner. In its place, a new beige love seat I've never seen before. Still has a price tag. I go down the hall to check my office. The door sticks, it never did that before. I push it open and find cardboard boxes stacked floor to ceiling. Holiday decorations, canned food suitcases I haven't touched in years. My desk is buried. My filing cabinet unplugged. Mallory passes behind me holding a box of candles. "Let us know when you're packed," she says. Like she's offering a favor. I don't respond. I walk calmly to my bedroom, close the door, and sit on the bed. I pull out the red file folder, the one I placed there last night. Inside, original deed, title, insurance, property tax, history copies of every check with my signature. No shared accounts, no rental agreement. No reason to explain myself to anyone. I press my phone screen. My attorney answers on the second ring. "I need to terminate a verbal cohabitation arrangement," I say. He replies, "Do you have documentation of sole ownership?" I flip the first page. Every last one. By the time we hang up, I've set the termination for 30 days. Sunday morning, I slip out early for groceries, though I don't need a thing. When I return, there's nowhere to park. Darren's car is crooked in the driveway, and Mallory's parents have taken the curb in a spotless black SUV. Folding chairs crowd the porch. Someone's put up a vinyl banner that says, "Welcome home," in gold script. Mallory is standing on the porch with a champagne flute, her voice cutting through the spring air. "To new beginnings," she says. Her mother claps. Her father raises a glass. Darren just smiles and nods, like he built the place himself. I don't go up the steps. I stay across the street, half hidden behind a neighbor's tree. From there, I can see my front door propped open with one of my gardening boots. The welcome mat has been flipped over. They're eating store-bought muffins on the patio furniture I bought 5 years ago from a local craftsman in Vermont. I take out my phone. Mallory's just posted a photo, all of them on the porch, arms raised, glasses mid-toast. Caption: so grateful for this fresh chapter. Couldn't ask for better family support. This house already feels like home. I screenshot it. Then I turn and walk 2 blocks to the public library. It's quiet, cool. I log into the county clerk's portal. Under property management, I find the option File 30-day notice of termination. Owner-occupied property. I upload a copy of my deed, the utility bills, and the signed legal affidavit from my attorney. A green checkmark appears. Notice submitted. Valid through end of month. That evening, I'm in my room reading when Darren knocks. "Hey," he says, leaning awkwardly in the doorway. "You okay?" I fold the page of my book. "I'm fine." He smiles, like that's all he needed, and closes the door behind him. They still think I'm just being quiet. Let them. Mallory starts with the hallway. By Tuesday morning, the old framed prints I picked up on a road trip through Maine are gone. In their place, glossy white paint and 3 metal sconces that match nothing else in the house. She drags the hallway table into the garage and brings in some geometric piece she ordered online. I hear her humming while she does it. I let her. In the afternoons, I visit Colleen. Her little craftsman across town smells like lemon soap and dryer sheets. I sit at her kitchen table, sip tea, and fill out paperwork while she bakes muffins from scratch, actual ones. Not the kind you buy in bulk and pretend are homemade. No confrontation. Just space. My lawyer calls to confirm that the notice was processed, reviewed, and logged with the appropriate department. Unless they can produce a counterclaim of tenancy or shared ownership, he says they're required to vacate by the 30th. I thank him and hang up. Then I open my laptop and update my mailing address with the bank, the DMV, my pension office, and my doctor's clinic. It only takes an hour. Back at the house, Mallory keeps working like she owns it. She swaps the shower curtain in the main bathroom for something pale green and transparent. I hear her say something to Darren about getting better light for photos. They take one that night, her parents sitting on the new love seat with Darren crouched beside them. I watch the image load on my feed. Family first. Roots, not rent. That's the caption. I don't comment. I don't react. Darren texts, "Let's talk soon." I let it sit. Unread. It's not that I have nothing to say. It's just that for now, I don't need to say it. The email from the building manager lands in my inbox at 8:42 a.m. Notice of enforcement. Final eviction delivery day 27. I don't open it right away. I already know what it says. 3 days to vacate. All signatures verified, all filings complete. The county doesn't make mistakes when the paperwork is that clean. By noon, I'm sipping coffee at my sister's when my phone starts ringing. Mallory's name flashes across the screen. I let it go to voicemail, then another, then a third. On the 4th call, I answer. "This has to be a mistake," she screams before I can speak. Some notice was taped to the door saying, "We have 3 days to leave. You need to call someone. Fix this." I rest the mug in my hand. There's no mistake. The lease is terminated. "You can't do that," she says, her voice breaking into disbelief. "We live here." "You moved into someone else's house," I reply. "That was your mistake." For a moment, there's silence. Then the sound of muffled shouting in the background, her mother, maybe her father. Mallory snaps back, angrier now. "We'll sue you, Lorene. You'll regret this." "You'll need to pay rent first," I say evenly. "You never did." Her breath catches. I imagine her standing in my hallway, phone shaking in her hand, eyes darting toward Darren. The same hallway she painted white, the one that never belonged to her. She starts to speak, but I hang up. The quiet afterward feels heavier than satisfaction. It feels settled. I open my laptop and scroll through a furniture catalog until I find it the same deep gray armchair Mallory tossed in the donation pile last month. The one my husband used to sit in after work. I click purchase. Shipping address, my new condo. 3 days left and they still don't know I've already moved on. The photo comes from Janine, the neighbor 2 doors down. We've never been close, but she's always liked my garden roses. Her message is short. Thought you'd want to see this. The image loads slowly. Mallory, her parents, and Darren standing on my old balcony. They're all smiling, wine glasses raised. Mallory's mother is even wearing one of my old cardigans. The caption reads, "Boston finally feels like home." I smile. I forward it to my lawyer, who replies 2 minutes later with a thumbs up and a single line. The listing went live this morning. Multiple inquiries already. We'll close fast. The condo I found is smaller, but it has better windows and no one tries to repaint my walls. My new armchair arrived yesterday. It fits perfectly in the corner next to the bookshelf. The light hits just right in the morning. I keep Janine's photo just in case. Darren calls that night. No message. Just a missed call. He doesn't try again. I imagine him sitting in the guest room because that's where Mallory put him after she took over the master. I imagine the air thick with tension. Her parents unpacking boxes they never asked permission to bring. They think they've won. The paperwork tells a different story. By the time they hear the knock on the door from the buyer's inspector, I'll be walking into my second week at the new place. No warning, no fight, just a closing date. Let them decorate. Let them post. Let them believe. I already know how it ends. By Wednesday, the calls stop coming from Mallory and start coming from numbers I don't recognize. Realtors, inspectors, the escrow officer, everyone confirming what I already know: the sale is on track. 3 days until the new owners get the keys. 3 days until the locks are changed. Mallory must finally read the notices because her tone shifts. First pleading, then accusing, then desperate again. Please, Lorene, we'll figure something out. My parents sold their home for this. You can't just... I already did, I tell her, and end the call. I forward everything to my lawyer. He tells me the inspection will happen Friday morning, the locksmith scheduled an hour after. No delays, no extensions. I make coffee and sit by the window of my condo. From here, the city hums differently, quieter, like it doesn't care who's coming or going. I finish half the cup, then start gathering the rest of my paperwork into a single folder labeled Final. On Thursday, I drive by the old house. I tell myself it's to drop off a form for the closing company, but I know it's more than that. Mallory's parents are in the driveway unloading patio furniture from a rental truck. The mother's giving orders, the father's wiping sweat with a towel. They don't see me. Darren does. He's standing near the garage, hands in his pockets, eyes fixed on the ground. I slow the car, roll the window down halfway. He looks up just long enough for our eyes to meet. I nod once. He doesn't nod back. Just turns away, pretending to check something on his phone. I drive on. The house disappears in the rearview mirror, white paint glaring under the afternoon sun. By the time I reach the next intersection, I can already picture what tomorrow will sound like. The knock at their door, the voices they won't recognize, the quiet after. At 8:12 sharp, my phone starts vibrating on the kitchen counter. I don't need to look at the screen to know who it is. I let it ring once, twice, then pick up. Mallory's voice hits me before I can say hello. What the hell is this? There are people here saying we have to leave. They're changing the locks. I pour a second cup of coffee and set the mug down. You do, I say. You can't do this, she screams. You're ruining us. I take a slow breath. No, you ruined yourselves when you tried to take what wasn't yours. There's a rustling sound. shouting footsteps, a door slamming. I hear her father's voice in the background, angry, confused. "We sold our house for this. You said it was handled." Mallory's sobs fill the silence that follows. "You can't just leave us with nothing." I look at the clock. The locksmith must have arrived early. "You'll figure it out," I say. Quietly, then end the call. 2 minutes later, Darren's name flashes on the screen. I don't answer. It rings again and again, then stops. I walk to the window. The morning light spills across the countertop, touching the folder labeled Final. Everything inside it, every receipt, every signature has already done the talking for me. Another voicemail comes through. I delete it without listening. My phone buzzes one more time, a text from the building manager inspection. Complete. Locks changed, keys delivered. I set the phone down, wrap both hands around my coffee mug, and let the quiet settle. The storm outside isn't mine anymore. By noon, I know the house will be empty. Echoes where their voices were cardboard boxes, half-packed, a front door that no longer opens for them. I open my laptop, type my new address on an online order form, and schedule grocery delivery for tomorrow morning. There's no reason to look back. The message comes in while I'm unpacking the last kitchen box. Just a text, no words, only a photo. Mallory sits on the porch steps, face red, hands clenched in her lap. Her mother's standing nearby, cradling a potted plant like it's breakable. Her father is on the curb, slumped forward, elbows on his knees. Darren stands behind them, all half-shadowed hands shoved deep into his coat pockets. No one is talking. I stare at it for a moment. Then I save the photo to my phone just long enough to know I have it. And then I delete it. Not because I want to forget, but because I don't need proof. I was there. I lived it. My new place is quiet, smaller but not cramped. A walk up on a tree-lined street in West Cambridge. The walls are still bare, the furniture sparse, but it's mine. I signed the lease. I chose the paint. I turned the key in the lock. The silence here feels earned. I boil water for tea. Sort through the last file folder. Utilities, voter registration, deed transfer confirmation. Every document now matches this new address. My phone rings again. Darren. For a second, I almost let it go to voicemail. But something stops me. I answer. He doesn't speak at first. Just a breath. Then I didn't know what to say. I say nothing. I should have done something, he says. I didn't stop it. I didn't defend you. I just stood there. I let that truth hang in the air. I wanted to fix it, he says. But I waited too long. Still, I say nothing. Then softly, I miss you. I close my eyes. My tea kettle starts to whistle behind me. I lower the flame, lift the kettle, and finally speak. Do you want to talk? Yes, he says. If you'll let me. I set down the cup. He's quiet. He's waiting. So I give him the chance he didn't give me. I'm listening. Darren doesn't beg. He sits across from me in the cafe we chose together, someplace halfway between where I live now and the life we used to share. He doesn't fidget. He doesn't defend. I was wrong, he says simply. I nod. He stares into his coffee. Do you think you'll ever come back? No, I answer. He nods too. No anger, no surprise. That's when I say, but you can come to dinner. The words land softer than I expect. He looks up. Really, it's just dinner. He arrives that Sunday with a paper bag of groceries. He cooks. It's a little oversalted, but he tries. He doesn't linger, doesn't ask for a tour, doesn't bring up the house. When we're done, he clears the table without being asked, washes every dish, dries them, puts them back in the right place. I notice, but I don't say anything. He walks to the door and slips on his jacket. I'm glad you invited me, he says. I'm glad you came. He opens the door. I follow him to the threshold. He doesn't look back. He walks slowly toward his car parked down the block. I close the door. The lock clicks into place, quiet, final. This one locks from the inside. And this time, I'm the only one with the key.